Hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. So today I have another flute to unbox for you. If you watched a video a few weeks ago, I bought a transverse flute, which I mistakenly thought was a Shakuhachi, but it was actually a Shinobui. But that was a really cool flute in its own right. However, I was like, you know what? I really do want to try a Shakuhachi, this really cool Japanese flute. So I was like, okay, I'm going to look for one. And I did look for one, and I bought one without doing my research, which is never a good idea. Because as it turns out, once I looked into it a little more, I found out that the flute that I had bought is actually a Xiao. Which is a Chinese flute, which is a lot like the Shakuhachi. It just has a different mouthpiece and a different number of finger holes. So I'll go ahead and explain that to you throughout this video. But anyway, this video is about a Xiao and not a Shakuhachi, unfortunately, because I was very excited, but that's okay. I'm excited for the Xiao too. So let's open it up. Okay, here we go. Out of the way, and okay, here we are. This is a pretty big instrument. Okay, I'm going to open up this plastic. I ended up getting, this instrument is in the key of G. There are also some available that are in lower keys, but they are larger. And there was a little warning blurb on the page about how those with smaller hands might not do well with larger ones, which I ignored when I bought a low whistle, and it didn't turn out well for me. So I got the higher one. So this is in the key of G. So, see if we can pull this out of here. Here we go. It's got a nice little case with it. That's cute. Okay, let's see. It also comes with, this is a little booklet of all the instruments that this maker makes, presumably. There's some hand pans in there, and oh, that looks cool. Maybe I'll buy one of those. Anyway, we're going to focus on this for now. Okay, and that's just the invoice. All right, let's open up this case. This is really pretty. So this is kind of a mid-range Xiao. It costs around $100. Wow, this is really nice, and it looks like, no, this doesn't come off. Okay, this is really pretty. It's all made of this gorgeous bamboo. It's just really, really pretty. Absolutely gorgeous. I also wanted to show you, my instinct was correct. Usually these metal bands are around parts that are separatable. So this does come apart to make cleaning the Xiao a little easier, which is awesome because moisture often collects in flutes like these, and you don't want, especially in organic material like bamboo, you don't want it to get really icky and sit with that moisture, because then you get mold. That's not ideal. Okay, so I've been experimenting with this Xiao a little bit, and several interesting things. If you are a woodwind player already, you may come at this with a certain perspective that might not serve you. So the very first thing that I did, I took this little hole and I lined it up with the back of the Xiao, because to me, as a woodwind player, that makes sense. That does not work. It does not work like that. I was like trying to move the flute this way. No, not successful. This little hole actually lines up with the front of the flute, which is fascinating design. I love this. And that makes you able to play it. But when you play it out wide like this. And I know it's, I think I've seen clarinetists play like this. I was not taught that way, but I'm sure some were. But anyway, it helps if you hold it out like this, because then you can get the right angle to breathe on there properly. Now, here's the interesting thing. When you're playing it, you're angling your airstream to hit the very top of this. It's almost, again, like that soda bottle trick that we tried with the shun. That's kind of what we're going for right here. It's very, I don't know, it's a little fiddly, but it's fascinating. So because we're aiming for this, the very top of the hole right here, it needs to be held pretty low down on your lip. So we're starting it like down here to actually produce a note. This is so fascinating to me. I don't know. It's just a very unique design. It's so different from any Western instrument that I have played that I'm having a lot of fun with it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and play a little bit for you right now, but I would like you to take the sound of this instrument with a grain of salt, because this is pretty different from any instrument that I have ever played before, the embouchure. So it's maybe going to sound not as perfect as it could sound. I've been working on it for a little while, but yeah, it's definitely not perfect. So that is the range of the Xiao. And again, I'm still working on those transitions between the higher and the lower notes. It's a lot like the shun where you have to do some tilting, but I definitely don't have the muscle memory to have that down correctly yet. So yeah, I'm just going to play around with this a little bit for you so you can kind of get some ideas of some neat things that you can do with this, some sounds that you can achieve, because it is a really unique sounding instrument. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a quick explanation of the differences between the Xiao and the Shakuhachi, because they do look very similar. The first difference is this U-shaped mouthpiece on the Xiao. In the Shakuhachi, there's kind of a hole cut up here, and in the Xiao, it's kind of cut to the side. So different blowing styles, which is interesting. And then the Shakuhachi also has about 5 holes in it, which makes for a more pentatonic scale, which is more traditional for Japanese music. But this, the Shakuhachi, has 6 and sometimes the 7th hole as well. And there's also a thumb hole. So those are kind of the differences to watch out for if you're looking in particular for one or the other kinds of flute. So there you have it. The Xiao is a fascinating instrument. And it has a really interesting tuning system that I haven't quite figured out. It did not come with a fingering chart. But like down here, there's a half step between this note and this note. It's so fascinating. I don't know. It's definitely a different tuning system than I am used to. So it doesn't play quite as intuitively as, say, a whistle or something like that, because you're not playing a diatonic scale by just lifting up your fingers. It's definitely a little bit of a different system. But fun. I think even if you are not used to this different tuning system and you're trying to do the more intuitive diatonic scale like I was sort of doing when I was messing around with it, I like that, because even though you're trying for one thing, which is like inside of your realm of musical experience and what your ears are used to hearing, even though you're going for that, you're getting a totally different flavor. And I think that kind of thing really helps with improvising because your brain is getting trained in new patterns and new ways of hearing sound rather than just reaching for the same old, here's the pattern that I always play, so it sounds nice. I don't know, I find it a lot of fun and a way to really stretch my brain, which is good for your brain, so. Anyway, if you would like to buy your own Xiao, I will put the link for this one down in the description. Do keep in mind, as I said at the beginning of this video, I think Shakuhachi is also listed in the title. Don't be confused, it's not a Shakuhachi, it is a Xiao. I do hope to someday get a Shakuhachi, but I think I'm going to have to do a little more research and a little more scouring before I'm able to find one. So stick around, hopefully one will turn up. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate all of your support. If you have any questions or comments, please do leave them down below and I will do my best to get back to you. I love talking to you. Thank you all so much and have an absolutely wonderful day. Thank you all so much for watching. If you would like to subscribe to my channel, go ahead and click on that subscription button right up there. Otherwise, if you would like to join my Patreon or buy me a coffee, the links to those are down in the description. I hope you have an absolutely wonderful day.